Okay, I did not see the last movie, nor have I read the It book, nor have I seen the Tim Curry special within the last 10 years. So this is my first exposure to the It mythology in a long time. And I'm just going to be judging this as this movie. So keep that in mind. So in It Chapter 2, of course, it's been 27 years since the last movie, and now It is back in the town of Derry, Maine, and the Losers Club also have to come back so that they can kill it. But the thing is, they don't really remember ever being there and making the promise to come back and kill us. So a lot of the movie is them finding themselves again, learning who they are and what the town of Derry means to them so that they can become whole people again, which is something that I actually really enjoyed. Because this movie isn't so much as like a terrifying thrill ride as much as it's a character piece, which I guess is, I mean, fair to say of most good movies. But just the amount of focus that it spends on these characters and know that they're growing up, reestablishing who they are, defining what they've done and how their past has affected who they are now, and taking kind of a backseat when it comes to explaining things about It and Pennywise at this point in time, I feel like is actually a pretty good idea because you learn, from what I understand at least, enough about It and Pennywise in the last movie to where you can focus up more on these people now that they've grown up. There's also quite a few flashback sequences which just go to show that the casting for the adult version of The Losers was actually very spot on. Like, it's rare that you see like two different ages for a character played by two different actors where it's just this spot on. Like, they look almost the same, they sound the same, they act the same. Like, I know James McAvoy and Jessica Chastain are super talented, but for me the standout was actually Bill Hader because I'm not the most familiar with Bill Hader's filmography, so of course I don't know what he's capable of, but I just didn't know that he could give such a moving performance as such a grounded person. Props to him. And of course, Bill Skarsgård did a great job as Pennywise, but I mean, as I said before, he's not in the movie so much. Now, that's not to say that, since I said it's not this terrifying thing, that there's not scares in the movie, because of course there are. There's some really good ones. There are two that made me audibly react. like, like there was a couple oh shits that came from me, I will admit. But I actually really like the way that the scares were done, because I mean, in modern horror, there's always going to be jump scares. There's always going to be blah, 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 and sound effects and CGI. But even though some of the scares were telegraphed, they did the thing that I liked that they did in the first Conjuring movie, where it's like, we're going to turn the key, turn the key, turn the key, turn the key. The scare's coming up in 3, 2, 1. And then, like, once you've already started to let your guard down because you were ready for the 1 to come, there it is. And you get scared. And I really appreciate that. Like, I like things that just kind of subvert your expectations, I suppose. It's just you expect to get scared at this moment, and you don't, so you let your guard down. You get scared at this moment instead, and it just goes to show that some filmmakers really do care about true terror, and it's fun to see. Now, this is a nearly 3-hour movie, and trust me, it does feel its length, but that doesn't mean that it's slow. Well, it's slow because it's a character piece, but it's not slow as in like, oh, it's so boring and the pacing's off and things don't make sense. It's just that it definitely feels like they're wrapping something up, which maybe I would feel is more special had I seen the last movie. But as this movie goes, there's just a lot of things going on that I didn't quite connect to. So there are some points where I'm just like, I kind of want to move on because I know what happened in the last movie, but I didn't see it. So it's like, I can watch a CinemaSins video about the movie and get a gist of what happens in the movie, but as far as like getting an understanding of how these characters tick, who they are as people, what they all brought to the table, that's just something that I didn't personally get. Stephen King also has a cameo in this movie. It's pretty cool, right? I just want to say, some of the dialogue in this movie is phenomenal. Like, it's so good, especially with Eddie, because Eddie is what I would be basically. I'd be freaking out the whole time and be like, look, man, we need to get out of here. This sucks. This is stupid. I don't even like this. But there's this part towards the beginning where they're all reuniting in a restaurant, and that's some of the best dialogue I've seen in a movie in a long time. Just people reconnecting. I love that stuff because it's one of the more relatable elements of the movie. Sometimes you don't see somebody for a long time. You see him again. You just start catching up. You know, you just talk about what you guys have been through in your time away, what you went through together. It's just one of the most fulfilling moments that you can have in your life. Now, all that being said, it's time to rate this bad boy, so I will go ahead and say that It Chapter 2 was absolutely worth the price of admission. I would say worth buying on Blu-ray, but it feels like it would be more fair for me to make that assessment had I seen the last one. So as it stands, it's definitely worth paying about $7 to go see. But in chapter 2, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever it is, whatever you think, comment below and educate me. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want more videos from me, then click the screen and subscribe and donate to my Patreon, please. I need it so bad.